It's hot. It's hot, dude. Alright. Hey, Boo2. Jennifer. Hi, Lady Rome's back. Hi. And my hair's still braided. Nice. Anyway. Yeah, I braided a part of my hair while I was talking to somebody. But anyway, I done goofed. If you watched the previous video I recently uploaded, you would see that I have uploaded Legends of Tomorrow, Season 3, Episode 5, titled Return of the Mac. And I did this, while I was on my work grounds. Like, I even explained in the video that I was literally at work 4 hours early, because my mom and I, we kind of work in the same building-ish, and she usually starts at 8. And yesterday, well, technically yesterday, because it's 12:30 right now, yesterday I start at 12:30. My mom starts at 8. So I literally have 4.5 hours. I start 4.5 hours after my mom. The thing is, though, I don't have a working car, so she's my only means of transportation there. So I usually go with her, despite, you know, starting 4.5 hours after her. And so I took a little nap in the car. You know, I said hi to some good people. Shout out to the both of them. And they know who they are. They definitely know who they are. I'm not gonna say their names. The first one I technically saw was the initials AN. You know you are, mwah, to you. And of course TB, who showed up like mere seconds after him. So shout out to the both of you. You guys know who you are. But then after they went to their shifts, because I start at 12:30, they obviously start earlier than I did. I went back into the car and I took a little nap, and I woke up and the car was freaking hot. And so because the car was so damn hot, I went outside and I was like, you know what? I have like an hour and a half until my shift starts. Let's go record. But the reason why I done goofed was, like I said, I did Legends of Tomorrow Season 3 Episode 5, titled Return of the Mac, when I haven't even recorded or uploaded Legends of Tomorrow Season 3 Episode 4, titled Phone Home. I did 5 instead of 4. I honestly thought that I already recorded 4 and uploaded it, and as I was uploading 5, I noticed that I didn't have Episode 4. I was like, well, shit. So here's Episode 4, titled Phone Home, and yes, that is a spoof to the movie, a very classic movie known as E.T. Phone Home. But anyway, from what I remember in that episode, because this episode premiered like October 31st, guys. I know I'm really late. And literally it's Tuesday right now, it's 12:30, so episode 6 is literally premiering later today. So bad. But anyway, Ray Palmer, our beloved Adam himself, he decides, he disappears in the Wave Rider. And apparently Gideon reveals that the reason why Ray just suddenly disappears is because apparently all the way back in 1988, Halloween of 1988, apparently little kid Ray Palmer died. That's why our Ray just disappears, right? So the legends, they travel to 1988, where Ray all of a sudden just suddenly reappears after disappearing. I mean, his kid self died on Halloween 1988, hence why he disappeared, and all of a sudden he just reappears when the legends show up. And they managed to find the younger Ray. I call him Baby Ray because he's adorable. And apparently they're wondering what could possibly have killed little Ray. Our Ray figured it out. Apparently Baby Ray has adopted a baby Dominator. And if you guys remember who the Dominator are, they are the giant little mass of alien race that showed up in the CWDC crossover. Was it the previous one? Was it the current, not the current crossover, because that one's happening soon, but like the one that just happened in the previous season? Or was it the one before that? I want to say it was the most recent crossover. Of course, not the crossover that's happening now, which is the Crisis on Earth X. But, it was the one we already saw, the most recent crossover, where aliens known as the Dominators showed up and our teams kicked their asses. But apparently, young Ray adopted a baby Dominator, and they believe that that is the reason why he died, right? And so apparently, government agents, from what I remember, show up out of nowhere, from what I remember, and they end up taking the baby Dominator, because, you know, it's kind of like those typical movie/TV shows where there's like Area 51 and Men in Black and all that stuff dealing with aliens and all that shit. It's pretty much that in an oddball way. Sorry. And pretty much because the baby Dominator was taken, it leads young Ray, Big Ray, and apparently Zari to try to see if they could break in and rescue the baby Dominator, because of course little Ray wants to rescue his little friend, right? And while that's happening, apparently Sarah, Nate, and Amaya discover that the baby Dominator's mother lands on Earth. Well, not really lands on Earth, but she shows up back on Earth. Apparently she has returned to Earth to find and retrieve her child. What a good mother, despite being an alien that tried to take over the Earth. You know? Yeah. Anyway, I'm actually going to send this video to those two guys that I sent a shout out to in the beginning of this video. And knowing them, they're gonna call me a complete loser for that. So AN and TB, no calling me a loser for this. I gave you guys shout outs on my channel, okay? So no, I know for a fact AN in particular will, because he torments me all the time. Yeah, and don't even try to deny it. You know you do, Mr. AN. You know you do. You torment me every day, every damn day. But anyway, where was I? The baby Dominator be like using his mind tricks, you know, his mind control tricks. Because remember, the Dominators, they did have that ability to pretty much, they did have the ability to mind control. We've seen it before in the previous crossover. And so the baby was pretty much using mind control to distract those Men in Black looking agents. Well, in my opinion, they're like Men in Black. Distracted the agents, so, you know, the party that had the baby Dominator, which would be Ray, Baby Ray, and Zari, could pretty much take the baby and meet up with Sarah, Nate, and Amaya to deliver the baby to its mother, right? And, while that's all happening, of course, you know, Sarah's kind of about the Dominators, because remember, some of the Dominators did kidnap some of the legends. You remember that? It kidnapped, I know for a fact at one point they did kidnap Sarah, because she was trapped in a pod on the ship, and they had this whole fantasy, they were in these pods, and they were, like, basically in their own little dream perfect world where everybody was alive, you know, Tommy was alive, Laurel was alive and apparently getting married to Oliver. Apparently freaking Ray and Felicity were a thing again. And it was like their perfect little worlds, right? And then Sarah got to have her sister and all that stuff. It was their perfect little world, and of course Sarah was kind of mad about that still, so she kind of wanted to kick the Dominator mom's ass. Kind of don't blame her on that one. But anyway, they managed to safely deliver the baby to its mother in peace. But what I thought was really freaking cool is, obviously this is an homage to the 80s, obviously, because we saw so much shit that just pays homage to it. Like we saw Nate when they followed little baby Ray home. I call him Baby Ray, to his home before they found out about the baby Dominator. We see Nate in a very familiar tracksuit outfit next to a very familiar car. And if you don't recognize that car is called a DeLorean. And if you don't know what a DeLorean is and why it's such a big deal, watch Back to the Future. At least I watched that. I've been very sheltered. My mom wouldn't let me watch anything or let me play any video games or like let me watch any certain movies, including like the classic ones that I should have watched, like Back to the Future and all that shit. At least I watched Back to the Future, though. So I know I know what a DeLorean is. So we got Nate in that typical tracksuit that we all know, right next to a DeLorean. He even says, "Oh, this is a time machine." So many freaking references. And when they were delivering that baby to the mom, little Ray was on his bike. The baby Dominator was in a basket in his bike. And Zari was in a bike behind him, and lo and behold, Zari uses her totem power, which is the wind magic thing, and they start flying just like, hello, phone home, E.T., hence why this episode's called Phone Home. They had a total E.T. moment, which I loved it. The moment I heard the title was Phone Home, I immediately know there has to have been some sort of E.T. reference. Obvious E.T. reference, besides this whole Phone Home thing, which I thought was freaking badass, by the way. And everything was pretty, like, spot on when it came to E.T., like, little Ray eating popcorn with the baby Dominator watching old school movies and all that shit, just like E.T. A lot of E.T. references, just a lot of 80s pop culture references was in this episode, and I absolutely loved it. Also, basically after all that, we see poor little young Ray gets picked on by bullies on Halloween, because we saw earlier in the episode he already did get picked on by bullies. And we heard from Big Ray that he believed that those guys were his friends, and then until pretty much the legends opened his eyes saying, yeah, dude, no, they were bullies. They were not your friends, right? We see those bullies come back again, picking on poor Ray on Halloween, and the legends decide to, stick up for little Ray, because, little Ray, Big Ray, you know what I mean? They show up and defend him, which is pretty badass, because they're in, like, badass outfits, and they're in their outfits and everything, and the kids are scared, like, oh my god, right? You know what? I was terribly bullied. Back in elementary school, middle school, high school, even when I went to college, I was bullied. Elementary school was by far the worst. And this is obviously when young Ray was. He was an elementary school kid still, despite being a genius kid. I just wish, like, there was some bigger kids out there that actually stood up for me the way the legends did for little Ray, because that would have been, like, the greatest thing in the world. I'm just saying. Brava to Team Legends. Anyway, also, I forgot to mention, in the middle of this episode, you're probably wondering what happened to Jax, Mick, and Stein. Jax and Mick are with Stein because Stein is very anxious, because apparently he's anxious to be present there at the birth of his grandchild, because remember we found out that his beloved daughter was actually pregnant, and apparently she was about to give birth, and he's kind of anxious about it, because in his original life, Stein didn't even have a daughter, and now he does, and now he's going to be a grandpa, so I don't blame him for being kind of anxious about it. So Mick and Jax, they learn about this, and they helped him through it by actually literally borrowing the Wave Rider so he could actually be there present to witness the birth of his grandchild, right, which I thought, and it, like, warmed my heart. They named the child Ronnie. And if you don't get the reference, watch the previous seasons of Flash, and especially Stein's first Firestorm partner was Ronnie. He was Stein's first Firestorm partner, and also Caitlin Snow's fiance, husband now, before his untimely death. Spoiler alert for those who didn't watch. But anyway, like, they named him Ronnie. And that was just absolutely beautiful. And seeing Stein as a grandpa is just beautiful. Really beautiful. But after all that, apparently Jax actually asked Ray for some help. Apparently Jax wants Ray to help him figure out a way to split Firestorm, because he actually wants Stein to have a normal life. He's a grandpa now. And I guess I understand why Jax is doing it. He's like, he has a family. He has a wife, and now he has a daughter. Anachronism daughter, and now he has a grandchild. I guess Jax just wants Stein to have that normal life, right? But I'm actually running out of time, so I better hurry the hell up. This is my Legends of Tomorrow Season 3, Episode 4 reaction to Phone Home. I love the 80s pop culture references. They were the bomb, okay? Heart to you guys. I'll see you for Arrow. Bye!